The following is a production of Stevenson Media. H-Town, what it do? I am Nick Stevenson, the president of Houston Sports. He is Ruben Calvillo, Mr. 713. Welcome to episode 29 of the Twin Toros podcast here on 713 Houston Sportscast, where we know H-Town's best fans in the world. They always come to swarm. Ruben, I know you did your play-by-play yesterday for this game versus the Baltimore Ravens. And I got to say, man, I watched it. And I felt your intensity. I felt the pain you were feeling at the moment. And I said you were pretty fired up, man. So we're going to give you another chance to get it all off your chest. And then tell me how you're feeling, nearly 24 hours later, now that everything is kind of cooled off for you, where you stand. But the Texans lose a pretty embarrassing game on Christmas, man, 31-2. In your opinion, is that the most embarrassing loss in their franchise history?
As far as franchise history, no. As far as the D'Amico Ryan, CJ Stroud era, absolutely. Now, before we get into this, Nick, I want to appreciate everyone who was in that live stream yesterday. It was definitely a tough watch.
Yeah.
This episode today is brought to you guys by BetUS. They're giving us a 150% sign-on bonus on our first deposit, $2,000. On your second and third deposit, it's 125% bonus. Promo code YouTube150 gets it done, guys. BetUS has quick 24-hour payouts, 24-hour customer service. BetUS, where the game begins. Yesterday was a slap in the face. There's no other way to put it. And I know I'm not a NFL player. I know that. But I feel like I am a part of this team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people have gone to more training camps than me in the past 5 years. Nick, we drop content for this team 365 days of the year.
Yeah.
It's been this way for quite some time now. And yesterday, I felt disrespected by watching this Houston Texans team. It still is, even 24 hours later, embarrassing that on primetime television, once again, you fall flat on your face. And this is the same old Houston Texans, Nick, and I hate it. I hate saying that. But everything that this team has done this season just shows you they are not ready to take the next step forward. And man, I'm not even looking forward to the playoffs. I understand we got a playoff game, but yesterday was just so embarrassing, so heartbreaking. And the fact that your defense put up the 2 points is insane. This offense is atrocious. CJ Stroud, he is playing like he is seeing ghosts out there. His play is atrocious. This entire offense is just garbage. It's garbage. And all this hype in the offseason, five-headed monster. I'm trying to win the big game at the end, right? D'Amico goes on the Shannon Sharp podcast. We're going to get better 1% every single day. And when we look up, we're going to see we're there. Dude, yesterday just shows you, man, that the Texans are not the big dogs of the NFL. Lamar Jackson just came in and did whatever the hell he wanted. There was no answer on defense. There's no answer on offense. And how embarrassing was it to see your owner, Cowan Hannah McNair, be a part of that halftime show down 17-2? How embarrassing.
Yeah. I guess in hindsight, that looks bad. If the Texans had been up 17-2, people might not mind. And that was obviously planned well before the game happened.
Read the room.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with that, man. Look, Hannah and Cal McNair, they're owners. Their job is to put out a good product on the field. Their job is it's at the end of the day, the NFL is an entertainment business. So I don't really have a big problem with that. there's so many things
I
on
don't
this team.
either. I'm just, I'm
Yeah, I
just
feel
bitching
you.
about it.
There's so many things on this team to have a problem with before you get there. But I'll agree with you, Ruben. The Texans look cooked. They do. And I'm going to go through some of the reasons that they looked cooked. They're not excuses. I don't want anybody to say that I'm making excuses for this team because I'm not. But it's just straight up the reasons why this is happening. CJ said in his post-game press conference that he came out flat and didn't have any energy. Now, to me and you, who were so pumped about this game, it's Christmas, it's on Netflix, Beyonce's performing at halftime. Like, we don't understand how in the world can you not have energy for this game, right? Then again, we didn't play 3 football games in 10 days. Now, I know what you're going to say. The Ravens did that, and they came out with all the energy they needed. Well, I'm not
Chiefs did it
making
also.
the Chiefs did as well. I'm not going to make any excuses, but this is what I believe is probably a reason. We talked about how these games towards the end of the season just don't have the amount of meaning that they would had the Texans not already clinched the division. Now, you and I, we want them to win these games as measuring sticks to show not only the Houston fans, but hell, show yourself that you can hang with any of these elite teams. But apparently, the proof is in the pudding, bro. The Texans don't see it that way. How do you not come out with energy? You don't really feel like the game is as important
That
as
falls on
maybe
coaching.
the Houston Texans fans do. And here's the thing, man. The reason this game was important to the Ravens because they needed it so they could win their division. So they came out like a team that wanted to win this football game. The Houston Texans did not. They did not look like they cared if they won this game or not. And it showed in the result, man. And it looked like that from the beginning of the game all the way to the end. So, like I said, I'm not making an excuse for them, but clearly this game was not as important to them as Houston Texans fans maybe felt like it should have
been. I think that's all fair. The only way I view it as not an excuse, but you're bringing this up just because of how bad we got our ass beat. Because you scored 0 points, we think that you didn't care enough in this game, which I believe is false. You saw Joe Mixon right before the game get into it with some Baltimore Ravens players. This
Yeah, he
team
got
is
into it
just
with some
not
of the
ready.
teammates too. Yeah.
And that falls on coaching. That falls on D'Amico Ryans for not having his boys ready to go. One thing we always said is this team has the swarm mentality, special work ethic, and relentless mindset. And you didn't see that yesterday. Hell, in the first drive, Derrick Henry had 54 yards. There was no fire from this Houston Texans team. And that's probably what they're going to use as their excuse to why they just didn't show up against Baltimore. But at the end of the day, you got your ass kicked from the opening whistle to the closing whistle.
Yeah.
It was all Baltimore Ravens. And I am glad that they got booed at home. They deserved it for this type of performance from the performances that we've been seeing the past couple of weeks. And dude, whenever he slammed down his helmet, I said right then and there's a problem. And now we are seeing the fruits of that.
Yeah, man, you and I both know it costs a lot of money to go to that stadium and watch a football game. A lot of money. And a lot of people put their hard-earned money to go and support this team. And regardless of the reason, and once again, let me make clear, I'm not making excuses. Regardless of the reason, though, those fans have a right to see you put forth your best effort with the amount of money that they're spending. And I don't think that the Houston Texans did that. I'm going to give you another reason. Once again, not an excuse. But this Houston Texans offense was already bad. It was bad week 1. Now, you take away Steph, you take away Tank, you take away Shaq Mason, add in the fact that now the defense can key in on Nico Collins because you have no one else on the offensive side of the ball. Add in CJ not playing with confidence, not playing with energy. And like I said, bro, this team was cooked before the opening kickoff, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because all of those things, once again, Bobby Slowick, and this is what worries me, man, he didn't have any excuses week 1 because he had a fully healthy team. But now that all these injuries seem to be racking up. And then on the defensive end, you didn't have Jimmy Ward, you didn't have Petrie, you don't have Azeez Al-Shaair because of the suspension. These are not excuses. These are reasons that this stuff is happening. This stuff is finally catching up with this team. And when you add third game in 10 days, they just threw up a dud, bro. And it makes me ask the question, how do you approach the Titans game now?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. Do you even want to throw out your starters out there in case of an injury? I don't know, but that's going to give you zero confidence going into the postseason. There is zero confidence right now in Houston, man. Like the reaction on Twitter, on on YouTube, Instagram was, I don't even want to go to the playoffs. Right.
Yeah.
And we heard Rex Ryan say on ESPN just last week that they look one and done. And once again, these Houston Texans, they look one and done, which is why I just feel so disrespected. Is, dude, just because, man, like I brought it up last week, there is no history to go off of. There is no, oh, let me go back 30 years and look at the tape and see this team win the big one. There is none.
Yeah.
The history right now is being written, and your history right now just shows you're just an incompetent franchise at the moment. You're not a serious team. You're not.
Yeah. Now, for me, Ruben, even with my expectation at the beginning of the season, I would say so far the Texans have fallen short of that, just because it doesn't have anything to do with their record. It has everything to do with just the way the team looks. There are times that CJ Stroud's body language is worrisome. And I'm not saying that as an indictment on him as a person.
You should, because hey, the honeymoon's over.
No,
it's over.
It's not an indictment on him as a person or even as a player. Like, something is up where his body language has just not been good. And he can say out loud, well, we won the division and everything, all we got to do is learn from this. But something is amiss, man. Maybe he's tired of Bobby Slow. I don't know what it is. DeMeco Ryans, Nick Caserio, and the McNairs are going to have to figure that out in the offseason. Something is amiss. At the beginning of the season, I did not see this team as a surefire Super Bowl contender. I thought they could be, but I didn't think to myself, man, they were the favorites. I definitely wasn't talking about them being the leading favorites to beat Kansas City when you had teams like Josh Allen's Bills and you had, the Baltimore Ravens with who should be the 3-time MVP coming up at the end of this season with Lamar Jackson. But I thought they would be better than this. I thought they would at least be a threat. I thought they'd have a puncher's chance. And it is disappointing, 100%. Now, you know me, man. I always try to throw things back into perspective. It's hard to do in the moment. We are a passionate fan base. I see people calling for the firing.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Like, be disappointed about this loss and feel all those feelings. And if you were there, boo. You deserve that. Like I said, you paid your hard-earned money to get in there. But let's pump the brakes just a little bit. Just like I said, pump the brakes about planning the Super Bowl parade back in April. Let's pump the brakes on firing DeMeco Ryans, who was in the second year of a 6-year contract. And regardless of what you think about this division, you're going to win 9-10 games, and you're going to have the division lead, and you will be in the playoffs, which, Ruben, you did content daily when this team won 7 games in 3 years. So I know it's hard to put things in perspective right now. Obviously, I'm not saying none of this is disappointing. It is disappointing, but there's still light at the end of this tunnel, man. Like, DeMeco Ryans, like I said, I don't think we need to judge his tenure until he's well into his 4th season. If they still look like this, hell, man, I'm not going to be honest with you, man.
I'm going to be, go ahead.
Next season, you cannot run this offense back the exact same.
Next season?
You can't.
The Houston Texans, they've lost the benefit of the doubt after this year. Now, going into year 3, they're going to have to prove it to us once again that they could potentially do something, because no one's going to go into the offseason thinking the Houston Texans could potentially make a deep playoff push. No one in national media is going to say that. You might hear that from me and Nick, but no one is going to believe in the Houston Texans anymore.
No, you probably just lost half of your primetime games too, if not more.
We don't even deserve to be on primetime anymore. No. This is a 12 o'clock team. Leave us at 12 o'clock. Like it, like because what do? You go up there, Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. Yeah, let me throw 5 interceptions and still beat the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Let me get blown out, what, 30, 38, 40, basically 50-2. I know it wasn't 50-2, but
It felt like it.
damn near felt like it. Like, this team doesn't deserve any type of hype going forward to this, into the next season.
No, man. And
So
maybe
it's
that's
like
where they
you got
thrive.
to prove it, huh?
Maybe that's the space that they thrive in, not being targeted on their
No
back.
one believing in
Maybe
you. Everyone just thinking you're a piece of crap franchise, and then hey, here are the Houston Texans. But the conversations, if that happens next season, are going to be they're not legit. We've seen this before. This is this like, and that's the thing. Until we get to the Super Bowl, this is going to be the same old Houston Texans. You talked about year 4, about judging DeMeco Ryan's tenure. I don't know. I think year 3 next year is going to tell us a lot about him and a lot about our quarterback, CJ Stroud, because I can agree. His body language at some moments just looked like he does not want to be on the football field. And that's an issue.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is the guy that's in charge of the franchise. I have a cutout of this dude. Dude, the only 2 Texans jerseys I own are Andre Johnson and CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I believe in this kid.
For
We
sure.
all do. And this year, I mean, it's fair to say it. If we're going to criticize everyone else, we can't criticize 52. We got to criticize 53.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud just has not been good this season. His accuracy is off. And I think that's hugely because of the offensive line. He's the second most sacked quarterback in the league. Then you have just an offensive coordinator who brings no creativity. To the Houston Texan offense. You have Ben Johnson running plays like it's a fake fumble. Like just insane. Why can't we come up with plays on the sideline? Why can't Bobby Slowick do that? No, he looks like he literally looks like Woody without his cowboy hat on. Just
I think he's hampered by a bad offensive line, number one. And I'm not making that's just a reason.
But you're never gonna get here's the thing, you're never gonna get anything you want in the NFL. And but we saw Bobby last year with no Laramie, no Titus, no Juice Scruggs, put up 30 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you also had 0 sacks in that game. So it's like, what
Stroud playing a lot better than he's playing this season. I don't know if you caught this in CJ's post-game presser. He mentioned that he's a little banged up, and he said that sounds like a terrible excuse. He looks a little bit banged up, man. He's not really able to escape the pocket the way that he was last season and extend those plays the way that he was earlier in the season. So that might have something to do with it. What it all adds up to, man, is just the Houston Texans are having a disappointing year. They are. And I don't have a whole lot of confidence in them going into the playoffs. Do you think they have a shot in the playoffs? What playoff team do you think the Houston Texans can beat at home? It's going to either be the Chargers or the Steelers, right?
Yeah, I think we could beat both.
Maybe the Broncos.
I think we could beat all 3 of those teams. I really do.
Yeah.
But once again, you could win yourself a wild card round, but then you get yourself into the divisional round, and we all know what happens. If you get embarrassed at home, oh my God. I don't know what the reaction is going to be. The fact that you were just like, the boos were loud yesterday.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. Those boos are going to be there in the postseason, and that stadium is going to be, it's going to have a lot more people in it.
Bro, you can't get in and out of that place without spending a minimum of $300.
Bro, look, if you buy a parking pass, it's $60 to $80. General parking is, I think, $50 to $60. The tickets, let alone $200 to $300 themselves if you buy 2.
That's for
right? Beers, $19 for the tall boys. Chicken tenders, $25. Not even fucking good.
Yeah, $30 for a Trill burger.
And then if you want any merch, it's 30 plus. Like you guys, so I don't go to the games. You guys spend your hard-earned money. Y'all deserve to boo. This team deserves to get booed, right? We're bringing all these 4 new uniforms. We are trying to start a new era, the DeMeco Ryans effect. When you talk like that, you are putting expectations on yourself. When you go into the offseason and do something that's never been done before, 1,000-yard rusher, receiver, 2 players with double-digit sacks, you're thinking, wow, this team could potentially make something happen.
Yeah.
Then you also buy into the outside noise, and all that has added up to a very disappointment at this point right now. Now, who's to say once the playoffs start, this team, ramps it up? Would it surprise us? No. But once again, we are going to say, why can't you just do this week in and week out? And that's the thing that upsets me the most, because we can all agree the Kansas City Chiefs this year have not looked like the juggernaut, that they have in the past, but yet they're still able to win games. They're still able to overcome injuries. They're still able to overcome aging weapons. Travis Kelce's past his prime. DeAndre Hopkins is past his prime. And yet this team is still winning football games. And it's like, when will this team, this Houston team, ever become that? And the question is, we don't know.
Yeah. Ruben, 2 things that hurt me that you just brought up. And number one, you called CJ Stroud a kid. And there's something to be said for that. He is young. It's early in his career. There's still hope for him. He's got to go through this. We watch Patrick Mahomes be Hall of Fame worthy out the gate. And we forget that the Josh Allens of the world struggled early. The Lamar Jacksons of the world struggled early. Even Joe Burrow, I know his struggles were due to injury, but not everybody's going to come out the gate going straight to the Hall of Fame. So there is still hope for CJ Stroud. Everybody.
Didn't Lamar win his MVP in year 2?
It was year 2 or 3. Yeah.
Lamar is great.
Lamar is great. I'm just saying, like, there were people who were, it's stupid to think about now, but people were wondering if he was an NFL quarterback in his first and second year.
I made a video last year, right before the draft of CJ Stroud. They were having conversations about whether or not to give Lamar Jackson, a big contract. I said, if you had the 2 first-round picks, give it to him. But that just goes to show how highly I think of Lamar Jackson. I would have loved if he would have became a Houston Texan. I mean, I still love me some CJ Stroud, don't get me wrong. But yeah, you're right, man.
We didn't have CJ when he was possibly a free agent, though. So I was like, why are more teams not looking at this dude?
Well, because remember, you had to trade 2 first-round picks, and then you immediately had to make him the highest paid quarterback. Right. Like, that was the whole thing that was going on. And I was like, dude, fucking do it. DeMeco Ryans, Lamar Jackson. Oh my God. Yeah. But we're here, and you're absolutely right. The first 2 years of Josh Allen were ugly. Were ugly. With Patrick Mahomes, he might have fell into the best situation you could ever imagine
100%.
For a young rookie quarterback. We saw Deshaun Watson, when he was good, struggle early in years. So yes, these are growing pains. It's just, once again, when you do all you did in the offseason, this was the most active offseason. I said we've never ever seen a Houston Texan offseason like we saw this year.
Nope.
And now it's all right. You got to prove yourself. And it's gonna take a while to get the trust back into this team, because you had it into the offseason. You had it into this year. And now it's like, all right.
I think you just need to continue.
Do we have to start looking at the draft? Do we have to start looking at free agents? Do we have to start looking at coaches? Like, those are the conversations that are happening now, dude. Just insane.
No, they're going to need to continue to have good off seasons as well. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Ruben, if DeMeco Ryans stands up in front of the podium before next season and looks you in the eye and says, hey, we're running this back with Bobby Slowick, we're running this back with this same offensive line, you're not going to have any type of excitement about this team. And you're probably going to be pessimistic and wanting to know, like, what the hell? And that's why I say they can't just run everything back on the offensive end next season and chalk it up to, oh, well, we had injuries here, we had injuries there. No, man, you were bad before the injuries. The injuries was just the straw that broke the camel's back. They got to do something new offensively. And I say that. And you brought up earlier, that's the second thing I wanted to talk about. You brought up, hey, what if they go into the playoffs and they show up and show out? Because we said all along, it don't matter what the regular season record is. If you win 2 playoff games, this season is a success.
Yep.
So let's say that we have our broken clock That's right, twice a day moment, and the Texans win 2 playoff
Dear
games.
God.
We cannot ignore in victory what we would not ignore in defeat. So this may go against all the rules of fanhood, but are you kind of hoping they do fall apart in the playoffs so that we have some changes made?
Once I get to the dance, I'm all about winning it, right? And then when you get to the off season, you have those questions. I am not ever one to say, unless it's for draft, for draft standards. If that's the case, if we're tanking and we're almost close to the number 1 pick, lose as many games as possible.
Yeah.
You get to the dance, man, you have an opportunity that 15 other teams don't. So you better take advantage of that opportunity. But let's role play a little bit, man. Let's do a little scene. You're D'Amico Ryans. I'm the reporters. Okay. Tell me that Bobby Slowick is returning, and I'm gonna give you everyone's reaction.
Okay, so you're the reporter.
Yeah, you're the reporter. You're D'Amico. Okay.
Well,
hold on. You're bald. Take your hat off.
Hold up, man. All right. White D'Amico. Okay. It was a tough season. It didn't end the way that we wanted it to, but we had a lot of injuries. But I feel like I'm really proud of what our guys did. I thought we showed improvement. We even won a playoff game. And so there's a lot of positive that we can look at. And that's why we're going to be bringing back Bobby Slowick next season, because we know that we're going to be able to improve upon what we did this season. Any questions? Ruben, 713 Houston Sports.
What did Bobby Slowick do right to make him, to make you believe he deserves another shot? And I would not only answer that question, Nick, to D'Amico, I would ask that to Nick Casario. I would ask that to Bobby Slowick himself. And me being petty, maybe this is why they don't want, us YouTubers in the room, because I would ask this question to D'Amico Ryans. I'm sorry, to CJ Stroud. Do you believe in Bobby Slowick? And if he says no, then you have no choice.
He's not going to say that, though. That's the problem.
Of course he's not.
Nobody's going to say that to the media. But what I'm saying, man, you look at his body language, something's up, bro. I don't know if he's dealing with something personal at home. Maybe this whole Tank Dell thing, really affected him that hard. And that's
maybe his girl got cracked or something. I don't know, but
I don't know, man. And he did bring up once again that he's a little bit banged up. So maybe he's nursing something that we don't know about.
But
you haven't shown up on the injury report, though, bro. So if you're not on that report, we're going to assume that you're healthy and you should be playing the way that we've come to expect you to play.
I'm saying right now, in the offseason, if he's doing anything but working on football, he's going to get criticized.
Yeah, man. You can't be doing all the podcasts.
You can't be going to another Mark Rubin party and, hanging with the other celebrities, because honestly, you don't deserve to be in that room.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, look, man, it's easy for us to sit back and say that. I mean, these dudes are humans. They want to live their lives too. But at the same time, man, I feel you. Like, you want...
What's the old saying? If you walk the walk, if you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk.
You want your players to show the same level of commitment to this team that you have. Like you said, man, you got a cardboard cutout of this man sitting in your room.
If CJ Stroud walked in my room and saw the cutout and looked at me, he would be like, dude, this dude's a fucking weirdo. And I'm like, you don't understand what this
we
team
are
means
weirdos,
to me.
though, bro. No, I feel you.
It's Christmas, brother, and I'm here, drinking some Crown Royal, just drowning myself, knowing the fact that my offense is garbage, and it's like we're leading the lambs to the slaughter, right? Because a playoff game is prime time. Everyone's going to be watching.
Yeah.
You get embarrassed again?
Oh, yeah. That's I don't know, man. I think, like you said, I think they can show up and do what they've always done and play a really good game in front of the home crowd against, I mean, nobody saw them blowing the Browns out last season. Now, once again, they played a whole lot better at the end of last season than they have been this season. But it is the NFL, man, and anything can happen. I want them to win 2 playoff games too. I'm just afraid if they win 2 playoff games, they'll start ignoring the things that they need to change about this team.
Could you imagine if they got on a run? I'd be like, oh my God.
Man, that would be amazing. And at that point, we probably wouldn't even care about the regular season anymore.
No, but it's just like, we go to that, man, when can we just feel like a good team, right?
It's the nature
That's
of
part
this
of it
sport,
too.
man.
I want to feel, You know, like, dude, you go to Kansas, like you go in those Kansas City Chiefs spaces, they act like, you know, they're God's greatest creation, telling me how I should run my franchise, how I should be a fan. I don't remember any Chiefs fans in 2012 or 10.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. And it's another thing you talked about. Once again, not an excuse, a reason. This is a young franchise. We haven't built the type of history a lot of these other teams have built. We haven't built the type of fan base a lot of these other teams have built. And we're just waiting for that moment. That moment is going to come at some point. I believe it will happen in D'Amico Ryan's tenure. I really, really do. But at the same time, as fans, the NFL is just so prone to emotion. It's a short season. It's week by week. You have to sit in your feelings for a whole week before you can feel anything different, right? Every game means so much. And that's why I hope they don't continue expanding the season to more and more and more games, because the more you do that, the more you flood it, it's just not going to mean as much. And I understand all of the emotion. That emotion that you showed in your play-by-play yesterday, bro, that shit was real. Like, that was honest, real. And I was reading the comments, bro. Everybody was feeling you. Like, you were not the only one. Now, I don't want, once again, you brought up Cal and Hannah McNair. I don't want them to be the type of owners that move with the whims of the fan base. I do want them to listen to the fan base, which I think they've done a good job of doing, but they can't run this organization. I don't want another Jerry Jones. I don't want them meddling in football. You handle the Texans brand, Cal and Hannah. I'm cool with that. Being the halftime show.
A lot of trash in the offseason. Well, not Cal, Hannah did, right? Don't forget to think of Brown, the whole who are the Tennessee tight ends.
Yeah. How can I say this respectfully? Because I don't want to come off disrespectful.
No,
but Hannah has kind of made herself almost like another mascot. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. Like, she is a feature to the team now. And yes, she's the owner's wife, but like, she's made herself a part of the culture, I guess you could say. And that's cool. But like, she's not playing the games. That's why I'm okay with her being at the halftime show. I'm okay with her doing the interviews. I'm okay with her talking trash, doing TikTok dances. That part's all well and good. If I see CJ Stroud doing TikToks in the offseason, I might have a problem, you know? Or I don't know, dude. It's one of those things where we're so passionate about this, and it's only going to take one thing going in the right direction. Like I said, 2 playoff wins. We're having a completely different conversation about this team.
Dude, we win in wild card weekend. We're gonna think this team could go to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. That's just the emotion that we lead with, and it's cool, man. Like you said, we pay our hard-earned money to express this emotion. We give up our time, bro. I got a couple of $1,000 worth of equipment in this studio that I use simply to talk about the Houston Texans and the Rockets and the Astros. Like, I don't have to do this. This is my hard-earned money. When we go to the games, we're spending our hard-earned money. We deserve the right to say what we want, feel what we want, and we just want these players to have the same passion behind the city, behind the teams that we do. That's all we're asking for. And I'm not saying that they don't. It just didn't look like it on Netflix yesterday. That's all I'm saying.
Man, I 100% agree. Yesterday was an embarrassment. If I was D'Amico Ryans and I had a team meeting today, I'll have the score right up there. I'll have every negative comment that was said up there because, man, we were talking about if you ain't with Houston, man, fuck them. Now no one wants to be a part of Houston, man. But it's just,
hey, man, it's okay to sit in these feelings, man. We got
I'm gonna give you a
rest. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I'm going to bring it up again. How do you want them to approach the Titans game? You want to see Davis Mills out there?
Why not? I don't know. I really don't because maybe if you would have been competitive and lost, put CJ Stroud on the bench.
Yeah.
But this dude didn't even throw a touchdown, which is now the 12. We have 12 quarters without scoring an offensive touchdown against the Baltimore.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The Ravens are the Texans.
They own it, bro. They own us. Right now they've been owning us for years now. Maybe you give him a quarter and a half, 2 quarters, but
I'd play CJ maybe a half. Nico, have a seat. Mixon, have a seat. We need to get Deontay Johnson out there.
Can
need
you
to get.
imagine if Deontay's the fucking thing that just sparks this offense?
That's what I'm saying. Give us something. Let's get Pierce out there. Let's figure out, man, use this game, shuffle around the offensive line however many different ways you've got to.
Yeah.
Let's figure something out for this playoff game, man. Let's just take it a game at a time. And, once again, after Tank got hurt, I came back and I told everybody, I'm not going to sit here and say I told you so, because I didn't think Tank should have been sitting out of that game.
Mhm.
If somebody would have got hurt in this game, in the second half, especially when you're already getting blown out, I probably would have had a problem with that. But fortunately, you came out relatively healthy. Does Azeez Al-Shaair need to play
Yeah,
against the
yeah, you
Titans?
do need him back.
You think he needs to play against the
Yeah,
Titans? I mean,
I
he's a
do.
pro.
I do. I
Okay.
do.
All
I
right.
do.
So for the whole game?
No. Like I said, put him on the snap count, right? But
Yeah.
you need to see, and the reason why, like, you need to see how this 3 linebacker system works.
Yeah.
Of Christian Harris, Azeez Al-Shaair, and Henry To'oTo'o.
Facts.
And that's I don't want to give myself any hope again on today's stream. The Texans lost, but you're still figuring things out, man, which is why that glimmer of hope is still there. You're hoping that with Azeez back, maybe this defense could, just forget what happened yesterday and go back to what they've been doing, picking off the football and getting to the quarterback. And you're like, what if you have a competent wide receiver opposite of Nico Collins? Because even when you had Nico, Tank, and Stephon Diggs, you didn't see a big game from either of those two. It was only Nico Collins. Ooh, horse crack there. So what could Deontay Johnson potentially give to this offense?
Something, hopefully.
Hopefully.
CJ Stroud's got to hit him in the hands.
And this is a look into the future also. Deontay Johnson might be your Tank Dell replacement for next year and potentially going forward, because I don't think Tank Dell is going to come back anytime soon.
Yeah, it sounds like he shredded his knee pretty bad.
Sounds like he's done for his career.
Yeah, possibly.
Because Cecil Short said, this is the injury that took me out. Now, granted, at that point in this, in his career, Shorts was like 7-8 years in the league.
Yeah. And we have a lot better technology as far as surgery and stuff like that goes. But ACL, MCL, and kneecap, like that's a pretty devastating injury, man. And is this the same leg he broke?
That's what I don't know. He broke one leg, got shot in the other leg, and then, like, brother, it's not
bubble wrap on this, brother, please.
Not been a good calendar year for Tank Dell.
The reason I asked that question, because based on DeMeco Ryans' press conference, I think he's going to play everybody in the Titans game.
Yeah, because he don't deserve like that.
He said the way you bounce back from a tough loss like that is you take it personal and you come back and
if this could be a tune-up game, you blow Tennessee out, right? You get your leg back. We're gonna maybe feel like, okay.
As long as everybody comes out healthy, I'm cool.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, man. Come out healthy, and I'm cool with that. If you go throw up 30 points on Tennessee, beat them, 35-12 or something like that, as long as everybody's healthy, I'm cool. If anybody gets hurt, I'm gonna have a problem. So. I guess we'll just play it as it goes, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning in once again. Do you have a nickname for your followers, man? We got to come up with a nickname from them.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think I have. I mean, we just call them chat.
Okay, yeah, we got to come up with a nickname, bro. Because
I call them family.
For sure. Family. Because think about how they've showed up for you this season, man. This is your first year doing videos on ESPN YouTube channel. They carried the live stream versus the Jets, bro. Like, they were swarming in there. They show up every week for all the videos we do on your channel, and they show up for the ESPN Houston videos as well. So shout out to all of y'all, man. It's been an up and down football season, but y'all have been consistent, unlike any other, man. So I want to thank everybody who's been supporting this show, supporting Ruben's channel, 713 Houston Sports, supporting my channel, which is the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. I'm going to leave Ruben all of the links to both of those channels for the description. Hopefully he'll put them in there.
I forgot last time.
It's all good, baby. It's all good. Look, listen, I got to give you credit too. And thank you.
I've been doing better though.
Yeah, you have. And listen, a lot of your followers will watch this show and they've gone back and checked out my stuff too. So I thank you so much, man. It's been a blessing to do this show. We still got a lot of season left though, Ruben, and we're going to ride H-Town till we drown like we always do.
Till we drown.
Absolutely. Listen, man, I'd love to let you close it out. The passion you have for this team, you showed it yesterday. give the people something, man, that's going to give us hope moving forward, going into not only the last week of the season, but into this playoff game at NRG Stadium.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what you have going for you, what could give you a little glimmer of hope, is that you got a new potential threat at the wide receiver spot. DeAndre Johnson, I think, could be a legit wide receiver too for this team. I go back to his year where he had 107 catches, 1,100 yards, 8 tutties. You know, he was dynamic, and maybe a new change of scenery could help him, but there also is some concerns with him off the field as well. But that's why we have D'Amico Ryans. On the defensive side, getting back Aziz Al-Shaair, and then knowing that moments like last night don't usually happen a lot against this Houston Texans defense. I think they're going to go back to their swarm mentality. I mean, you kind of have to after getting your ass beat like this, but the fact that your team is still trying to figure it out before the postseason should give you some type of hope going forward. We just need to see the product on the field. But guys, once again, thank you all. This episode is brought to you, powered by BetUS. Quick 24-hour payouts, 24-hour customer service. BetUS, where the game begins. Nick, I'm signing off.
Love it. Love it. Thank you guys so much. We're going to see you on ESPN Houston's YouTube channel next week. In the meantime, you know what we want you to do. Stay 10 toes down for the H. We love you. Good night.